Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jeng. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. A controversial bill that would have allowed teenagers to consent to receiving any vaccine is now dead. We'll hear from the heads of different groups that had been working against the bill. As California goes, so goes the nation. The saying is ringing true with the state's attempted ban on selling gas vehicles. Other states are preparing to do the same thing. And despite drastic changes in CDC recommendations, California is still in a state of emergency over COVID. We'll hear from one expert on why lawmakers are not voting it away. Another jab-related bill bites the dust. The controversial bill would have allowed minors to consent to receiving any vaccine. It was pulled just hours before lawmakers voted on advancing the bill to the governor. Several parent organizations told me about their efforts opposing the bill. California State Senator Scott Wiener announced Wednesday morning that he is pulling Senate Bill 866. The now dead bill would have allowed children 15 years and older to receive any vaccine without parental consent. Several parent organizations gathered in Sacramento for a rally against the bill, also on Wednesday morning. Tara Thornton, co-founder of one of those groups, revealed the bill's history.
Originally, the bill was for all children 12 and up. There was so much bipartisan pushback and community pushback that the author, against his desires, was forced to take an amendment to take it up to age 15. Still, even with that amendment, it didn't shake the bipartisan opposition within the legislature or from the community at large, because this isn't about anything but age. And we will not negotiate our parental rights and lower the age of consent on important medical decisions below 18.
Lawmakers' support and opposition was split in the state's two houses. Nicole Pearson, lawyer and founder of Facts, Law, Truth, Justice, was planning on filing a lawsuit if the bill turned into law. She says lawmakers are trying to separate parents and children.
It's actually another brick in the wall that the California legislature has built between parents and children, another brick in the divide between parents and children, and quite frankly, not only a parent's moral and ethical obligation to take care of their child, but actually their legal obligation to take their children, and it's a huge violation of that.
Wiener said in a Wednesday statement the decision to pull SB 866 came after he realized the bill would not receive enough votes to pass. He thanked the coalition of students, healthcare providers, and parents who supported his bill. Amy Bond, president of Protection of the Educational Rights of Kids, said there was a celebratory mood on the Capitol steps after the bill was pulled.
Us working together, collectively holding the line, all of the people who are engaged, calling their legislators, being up at the Capitol, all the work that's being done, it is a tremendous effort, I have to say, on behalf of everyone, that we've come this far.
On Tuesday, Denise Aguilar, fellow co-founder of Freedom Angels, called on parents to take more civic action.
Our call to action is to show up and listen to the organizations and the parents who have been pushing back on this, and really show up to the assembly floor session. This is the last day for any bills to pass and go to the governor's desk. And we really, we encourage people to be a part of this process, to engage in civics.
SB 866 was one of the many jab-related bills that was not only introduced under pandemic lockdown policies, but also failed to pass amid pushback. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California. A national civil rights group known as FAIR has urged California's government to revise its gender policies. Here are the details.
California's government is receiving new calls to revise its gender policies. The policies in question would require teachers and other school staff to hide students' gender identities from their parents if the child wishes. The state's Department of Education policies encourage schools to, quote, socially transition children who say they are transgender. This includes allowing them to use preferred names and pronouns. In addition, they could dress as the opposite gender and use opposite-sex bathrooms without parental consent. The nonprofit Foundation Against Intolerance and Racism, or FAIR, has also advised other states with like-minded policies to pursue a course to revise these policies. Letitia Kim, managing director of the organization's legal network, said, "You can't just leave it entirely within a child's hands. particularly given that the child is not developmentally mature enough to make that kind of a determination. Although these policies may seek to protect children, Kim says they go too far. She also said FAIR will consider litigation if nothing is done to revise current policies that exclude parents from the process. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
While it's not always the case, everyone has heard as California goes, so goes the nation. And this time it seems to be happening with the state's sought-after gas car ban. Several other states are jumping on to banning sales of such vehicles.
Following the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, adopting rules seeking to restrict the sale of new gas cars in the state, Washington, Massachusetts, and Virginia could implement similar measures. According to CARB's new rules, zero-emission vehicles and plug-in hybrids should make up 35% of new cars sold in California beginning in 2026. States such as Massachusetts, Washington, and Virginia already have trigger laws in place to restrict the sale of new gas cars if California passes such a rule. But California's law becoming a reality will depend finally on a ruling from the Biden administration. John Bozilla, CEO of Alliance for Automotive Innovation, said in a statement on Thursday that the push for replacing fossil fuel vehicles with electric vehicles first requires fulfilling other basic requirements that will determine the success of such a plan.
Last call is staying right where it is. That's after a motion to keep bars in California open later than usual has died in the state assembly.
The California State Assembly voted down Senate Bill 930 on August 24th. It was intended to extend bar closing times up to 4 a.m. in 3 California cities. The legislation would have allowed San Francisco, Palm Springs, and West Hollywood to extend last call for alcohol at bars, nightclubs, and restaurants to as late as 4 a.m. on weekends and 3 a.m. during the week to draw tourism and help cities economically. The California Association of Highway Patrolmen said the proposed new closing hours were too close to the start of the workday. Legislators have made numerous attempts to extend closing times for alcohol sales in the state since the early 2000s.
Snapchat's parent company is announcing that layoffs are on the way. Company officials say about a fifth of Snap Inc.'s employees, or about 1,200 people, will be let go worldwide. The CEO of Snap says the company is focused on 3 main goals, quote, community growth, revenue growth, and augmented reality. Snap's stocks have fallen by more than 75% since January following minimal sales growth reports from the company. California has been under a state of emergency for over 800 days with no end in sight. One senior policy analyst points out the problems that come with it.
While the state of emergency may have been necessary during the pandemic, it has also led to thousands of no-bid contracts, bypassing the standard formal process of evaluation and contractor bidding. Mark Jaffe, senior policy analyst with Reason Foundation, told California insider Siamak Karami it gave Governor Gavin Newsom extraordinary powers to do just that. An example he brought up is when the state needed lots of masks.
So the original mask contract went to a company called Blue Flame, which had been set up 3 days before the contract award from California, when California wired the company about $450 million to prepay for the masks. Fortunately, the state was saved by a bank. The bank looked at this wire payment, thought it was very suspicious, and decided to disapprove it. So because of a bank's intervention, California taxpayers and federal taxpayers would also have been footing most of this bill.
With no bid contracts, the vendors are chosen informally and contracted. The state found another company and signed a $1 billion contract with it for masks in a hurry.
BYD, which is a Chinese company that I think originally started more in the automotive sector, and they claimed that they could perform the service of quickly procuring a lot of masks. But there were problems there because some of those masks did not meet federal certifications. There were delays in providing them. So even though we spent $1 billion, we, the taxpayers again of California, it's not clear that we got value for money there because there was such a hasty assignment of these contracts.
Jaffe says normally when government procures goods or services, it writes a request for proposal. Companies bid on that request, then the government agency goes through a process of reviewing all those bids and chooses the vendor that meets its requirements. But this time, they were not prepared to scale up to the huge amounts of money getting spent so quickly. Jaffe says this authority to declare a state of emergency started in the 1970s when the Emergency Services Act was passed.
This gave the governor very broad authority to declare a state of emergency, and there's a very long list of things that can be categorized as an emergency situation, including pandemics, droughts, forest fires, and so forth. So the governor has a lot of flexibility in terms of declaring these disasters or emergencies and then suspending the normal legislative process for as long as he or she thinks necessary.
According to Jaffe, the legislator would have to vote to end the state of emergency, but it doesn't usually happen since it would transfer the burden of responsibility to them.
To watch the full program, find California Insider on YouTube or Epic TV on the Epic Times website. We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at all of the great stories we've got ready for you when we come back. Residents in Los Angeles are calling for an end to street racing and block takeovers. They say a new movie, which is filming in their backyard, is drawing people into the reckless behavior. A Catholic school in Southern California has suffered a string of break-ins and robberies, but the alleged tool used in the most recent robbery, which security cameras caught, could be considered downright blasphemous. That and more on California Today. Angry residents are protesting against the latest movie that started filming in their Los Angeles neighborhood. They say it attracts dangerous illegal street takeovers in their area, trying to replicate the stunts, making it unsafe.
Production of the latest The Fast and the Furious movie, Fast X, was underway in Los Angeles on August 26.
Street racing kills. Race on a track.
But angry protesters nearby demanded an end to filming in their neighborhood.
Street racing kills.
For Damian Kevitt, founder of Streets Are For Everyone, who organized the protest, it's a personal issue. He lost part of a leg after being hit by a vehicle.
This community has been requesting for years to handle the fact that it's become a tourist destination for street racing ever since the first Fast and Furious film. And to have the films be filmed again in this neighborhood, the community is concerned that it's only going to get worse.
At nighttime, you're woken up quite a few times. And then your kids are crying and screaming because they're in terror of like, what the heck is going on? It's become a big problem for us, and I think enough is enough.
The franchise has made billions of dollars in its 21-year run, with some of the film's iconic scenes shot in the neighborhood. But residents of Angelino Heights near downtown LA say they've had enough of movie fans performing dangerous stunts and trying to recreate their own versions of the movie on public roads.
We can't even have our kids sitting in front of the house because they're scared. Because we're scared that if something gets spun out of control, it's going to come flying in your property or towards your children, so you can't have that. You can't cross the streets because your kids aren't safe to do that.
Dozens of protesters marched outside the closed set as camera rigs were set up and a vehicle used in the movie was transported behind privacy screens, guarded heavily by security. Campaigner Lori Argumedo held up a picture of her niece who was killed by a street racer.
Bethany was 23 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She had a little girl that was 6 years old. I had to identify my niece's body on Mother's Day. I had to tell her 6-year-old daughter that her mommy is never coming home. She still doesn't understand that mommy's never coming home. This is the reality of street racing. People's lives are lost. I did her makeup for her funeral instead of her wedding.
The production company should speak up and have their idol actors speaking up and voicing how this is not okay. Speak up for the people that get to suffer accidents like this and say, this is not what we promote the movie for.
The Los Angeles Police Department says there have been reports of 667 takeovers since the start of 2022, with more than 2,000 citations issued and 439 vehicles impounded. Other police data suggests there have been around 600 arrests this year alone. Dangerous illegal street takeovers, where crowds, sometimes in the thousands, take over a busy road or intersection. They block it off for races and stunts, hampering police attempts to get through the crowds quickly and make arrests. Many of them are filmed for social media.
We want NBC Universal to live up to their social impact statement. We want them to care about the communities in real life, not just on a website, on words, and to mitigate the impacts and to do effective actions to stem this rising problem. They are helping to glorify it.
NBC Universal did not respond to a request by Reuters for an interview.
A Catholic school in Southern California has seen a string of robberies, with the most recent being particularly blasphemous. Security cameras caught footage of an alleged thief breaking into the school using a crucifix. Here's what they saw.
A Catholic school in LA County's Bell Gardens has been experiencing robberies. The most recent robbery at St. Gertrude's Catholic Primary School in Los Angeles County was captured on security video. Detectives with the Bell Gardens Police Department said the thief used a crucifix to pry open a window at the school and steal $5,000. Authorities believe the man is the same suspect involved in the other robberies at the school. This is the third time the Catholic school has been robbed. In one of the robberies, the thief stole $4,800. The money was going to be used for a school field trip. The Bell Gardens Police Department describes the suspect as a male, possibly Hispanic, between 5 feet 6 inches or 5 feet 10 inches, slim and with heavy tattoos on his right arm.
The governor recently appointed the newest Surgeon General, who would be the state's spokeswoman on public health issues and an advisor to the governor.
California Governor Gavin Newsom appointed former Orange County Medical Association President Dr. Diana Ramos as the state's newest Surgeon General on August 25th. If approved by the legislature, Ramos would become the second person to fill the position as the state's top health officer since the governor created the position in 2019. Ramos, 55, of Laguna Beach, has served as a public health administrator at the California Department of Public Health Center for Healthy Communities since last year. She was a physician at Kaiser Permanente, a public health medical officer, a board member at the California Maternal Care Quality Collaborative, among other positions. The Surgeon General position requires Senate confirmation, and the compensation is $216,420.
As the heat wave approaches, staying healthy and hydrated is critical, but don't forget about your pets. Dogs, cats, and other animals can suffer greatly from overexposure to heat. NTD's Bill Thomas brings you more.
Pet owners are being urged to take precautions to prevent their furry four-legged friends from becoming a victim of the searing heat and hot pavement. Pasadena Humane, a nonprofit animal resource center near Los Angeles, says heat issues can lead to a spike in veterinary visits. Pasadena Humane has a few tips for protecting your pets. Keep them hydrated with plenty of cool water and provide shade if your pets are outside. Avoid exercising pets during the hotter part of the day. Early morning or later evening are better. Those times will also protect your dog's paw pads from burning on asphalt, cement, or other hot surfaces. Pets showing signs of heat exhaustion, such as excessive panting, heavily salivating, or suddenly becoming immobile, should be taken immediately to a veterinarian. Don't end up in the doghouse. Please take care of your pets. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
Now we're going to send it over to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports roundup.
I'm Thomas Christian, taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup.
Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw is set to start on Thursday in New York against the Mets after missing almost a month due to back injury. Kershaw has been participating in simulated games and in throwing practice for some time now, but will still likely be on a shorter leash than usual, his first time on the mound in almost a month. However, Kershaw's departure and now his return didn't seem to shake this Dodgers squad one bit. The Dodgers are still at the top of the NL West with an MLB best record of 90-38. This team has kept on rolling, so much so that Dave Roberts may be tempted to use Kershaw sparingly in the last month or so of the season so that he will be ready to go for playoff baseball in October. Before his injury, Kershaw was posting an ERA of 2.64 with 88 strikeouts on the season. Gavin Lux hit the go-ahead RBI single in the 7th inning for Los Angeles, which went on to beat host New York. Lux finished with 3 RBIs for the Dodgers, who improved to 22-5 this month. Reliever Heath Hembree allowed 2 hits in a scoreless inning for the win. Jake Reed earned his first career save with a 1-hit 9th. Starling Marte and Mark Canha hit solo homers for the Mets. Joely Rodriguez took the loss in relief. Dodgers 4, Mets 3. Blake Snell threw 6 shutout innings, Trent Grisham hit a 2-run homer, and visiting San Diego stuck a second dagger into San Francisco's slimming playoff hopes. Manny Machado collected a double, a single, an RBI, and a run, helping the Padres double up on Monday's 6-5 win in San Francisco with a second straight nail-biter to open the 3-game series. Jock Peterson's 2-run homer in the 9th wasn't enough for the Giants. San Francisco starter Logan Webb was charged with an unearned run on 4 hits. Padres 4, Giants 3. Aaron Judge hit his 51st home run of the season to extend his major league lead and help New York to a win against Los Angeles and Anaheim, California. Andrew Benintendi and Anthony Rizzo also homered for the Yankees, who ended a 3-game losing streak. Max Stassi and Mike Ford homered, and Shohei Ohtani had 2 hits for the Angels, who came in on a 4-game winning streak. Yankees 7, Angels 4. Sean Murphy hit a 5th-inning grand slam and finished with 5 RBIs in Oakland's victory at Washington. Tony Kemp and Darmis Garcia, who smacked his first career home run, both drove in 2 runs for the A's. Murphy and Kemp each had 3 runs as Oakland posted a double-digit run total for just the 4th time this season. The Nationals failed to protect a 3-run lead they possessed after 2 innings. Lane Thomas and Luis Garcia hit solo homers for Washington, while rookie Joey Meneses hit 3 doubles. A's 10, Nationals 6.
That's all for the California Today Sports Roundup.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcast on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jang. Have a wonderful evening.